Right, good morning and welcome to another Ancasta interview from our Dusseldorf Boat Show series. My name's Nick Hatfield. I'm the sales manager for Bluegame Yachts here in the UK, and I'm very happy to say I'm joined by Luca Santella this morning, who is not only the founder of Bluegame Yachts but also the head of product strategy there. Good morning, Luca.
Good morning to you guys.
We'll get straight into this, Luca, if it's okay with you. Luca, can you tell us a bit more about yourself, your passion for the sea, your past as a professional sailor, and how you ended up as a boat designer?
Yeah, well, love for the sea came from my family. They were enjoying, and going sailing normally. So my brother and myself started really, as kids to sail. Personally, I continued sailing and started competing very young. I remember I was member of the Italian team for 70 team. I was 15 years old, so I was really, I started really early as a competitor at high level, and I continued sailing at that level, left the 470 and sailed the Olympics in 88 with a Tornado, with a catamaran. And then I changed class again and I sailed the Olympics in Barcelona with the Flying Dutchman. In the meanwhile, I was studying in university. I was studying architecture. And so my life was divided between competing around the world and studying in Florence my course of architecture. And that was the link that kept me, those two big love I had for sailing and also the love I had for architecture.
Because the architecture wasn't boat architecture. Am I right there?
Was just not naval architecture. Just I graduated as an architect in Florence, normal architect, typical graduation. But I started to mix the two things. And that's why I ended up designing boats. I started to help my brother, who was already in the pleasure boating business, and I started to help him for the boat shows, for some drawings. And then the owner of a boat I was sailing with asked me if I could imagine a special powerboat for him. He was looking for something really special. And that was my first project, and that was the starting of everything, from that moment. So it was a link between my story of competing in sailing and my academic story.
I hear you're pretty good in a Melger's 24 as well, rumor has it. So
yeah, when I quit the Olympic campaigns in '94, because after the Olympics in '92 I sailed soling for a couple of years, but I had a terrible backache. My back was really hurting too much. I was tired after 2 Olympic campaigns, and I quit the Olympic classes. Then I started to sail, any kind of professional series like FAR 40, the MAM 30, MAM 36, and I think the Magus was the best boat I ever sailed. I think it was the mix of everything I really loved. Very good upwind and super fast downwind. It was tactics, it was fast, it was beautiful. I really loved. And I think we did a fantastic 2 years. I won the European Championship, and I was, I think, 4th or 3rd at the World Championship the same year. So I had a very good memory. of that campaign. And then
Right.
I actually quit sailing in 2004 when I was sailing Majesty 24 and Far 40 when I started Bluegame. That was the moment I could not mix anymore my two, I couldn't split myself anymore. So I decided it was time I mean, not decided, but it was really, I was looking forward to this new experience. And we started the company Bluegame in 2004. That's why I actually really quit my sailing 100%.
So in 2004, that was when your one of the guys you were sailing with asked you to design the powerboat for him, or can you give us a bit of a history from that moment through to where we are now with Bluegame?
In '99, I was sailing with this guy, very nice guy, really in love with. He had different sailing boats. We rented an America's Cup 12-meter for the historic circuit we had here on the Mediterranean. And he kept asking me, he was really looking for something new. He was a guy looking for new things. And then I presented him my drawings, which were quite crazy for the time. And he was more crazy than I was, because he said, all right, let's go. And so I actually bought the hull from an existing yard, Uniqueness. I bought a 55-foot hull, and I designed inside and on top, on the deck, the new boat. And that was '99. I think we launched the boat in 2000. Or 2001, maybe I missed 1 year. And we went to the Monaco Boat Show of that year. And I remember the boat was stunning, was so different, so new, the colors, everything was so different. And it was a proto Bluegame, actually, because it had 90% of everything you see you saw in the next Bluegames. And I remember that Duck Pike of Boat International came to see the boat, to trial the boat. And we were on Boat International with a nice article. And there was a very nice guy, an entrepreneur, Mr. Carlo Bonomi, who had the vision to, build something around this boat. He called me. And actually, I started the business with him. It was thanks to him and to his vision that my project could come alive. And the funny thing was that still through the sailing, I had my contacts to build the boat in South Africa. So we started to build in Cape Town. So we really put something together which was so difficult, so different, so, complicated, because it was a new boat, no brand, building in South Africa. But that was the test that showed that the project has really a strong personality, because otherwise we would have never, come out of that situation. Instead, we started to sell boats here, and we left South Africa only in 2007 after 3 years of building. And from that point, we kept working here in the area where we are now, actually. So the beginning was very weird, very particular.
Okay, and then you moved the sort of production and the boat back to Italy, and that was, do you say about 2007 that was?
And at the time we were building, our first model was a 47.
Yeah. And
after that we launched a 60, and it was 2009. And after the 60 we launched the 40, which was 2011. I was ready to build the 50, but in 2013 actually we had to stop production and keep things standing, waiting for better periods, better situation. Yeah. And that was when San Lorenzo purchased the brand in 2017. And from that moment, we could, restart our, my projects and everything I had in mind.
So you see that moment where yourself and Mr. Perotti got together and sort of joined forces as quite a pinnacle point in going forward in Bluegame's future, I guess.
Yes, it was only because of Mr. Perotti and being together with San Lorenzo, then I decided and I said to him that it was worth it to restart, because things had changed so much that I would have never restarted in another situation. Instead, it was the right team, the right people, the right guy, and from that moment, we could really look forward and have a serious plan to restart the company.
Well, I thank Mr. Perotti for doing that, because for us it's exciting to be involved with you guys at Bluegame now. And sort of, I don't know, looking at a Bluegame from a boater's perspective, who do you sort of see as the Bluegame customer? I mean,
yes,
the buyers coming from.
The Bluegame customer is very particular. Is a very experienced guy. He's a guy who owned previous boats, maybe also sailing boats. Our boat is so out of the stereotypes of the typical pleasure. It was, especially at the beginning, so out of the stereotypes of the typical yacht of the time, that to understand the boat, you really needed to understand what that boat could give it to you. So you needed to have spent hours in the water and to see the potential and translate that potential in uniqueness and elegance, because at the end, these guys want something unique and special. And I think that was that is the main characteristic of this of our customers, especially of the customers at the beginning of our history, because as I was telling you, it was so particular situation that if you think here in Italy or in England and you buy a boat built in South Africa by a yard that has got no brand, no history. If you think back of that, and if I think back of that, I say, how could we do that? But it was the appeal of the product was so strong that we could overcome that situation.
And you talked then about the uniqueness and how Bluegame is very special. I mean, was that one of your aims when you started Bluegame to produce something that was unique to the market, was special, gave that owner a sense of a desire to own a Bluegame? Was that part of the aims, or where did you?
Yeah, well, aims were my aims were very straightforward. It was to give our client a functional, seaworthy, elegant, and unique yacht, which sounds simple to say. It's not so simple to do, but I think is what we did at the beginning, and what I'm trying now to maintain in every new model we are delivering. Because I think if we go through the previous models and the actual models, you really see that transversally you have some points which are common, and we keep them as milestones of Bluegame, and they have to remain like that for the future.
Yeah, and it allows you to always recognise a Bluegame if you keep those certain characteristics, I guess, as you design different boats. And I guess from our side of things, from an Ancasta side of things, being in the UK powerboat market for a long time with different brands, I mean, for us, Bluegame offers something very, very different to a client, which is what's so amazing. You talk about the uniqueness, the fact that it's special. I mean, when you look at the Bluegame BGX range, it does take on what I would call your conventional flybridge, you know, the mass-produced common sort of brands, the Sunseeker, the Princess. How do you see the BGX range go up against those sort of more conventional flybridge boats?
Well, um, having these big firms as competitors is really challenging, very challenging for a yard that, like ours, can build 8, 10 pieces of each boat, you know, per year. So we have to be very smart. We have to propose something really innovative, something new, something that could give to our potential client a new way to look at the boat, to live the boat, to enjoy life at sea. I think BGX was exactly this, something that maybe we started to see with SX, the San Lorenzo SX, but that we took to a different level. We really developed it even more. And that worked. That people is the only way a firm like ours can compete with such important, long-term firms like Sunseeker, Princess, and others in the world.
Yeah, and I mean the BGX range. I'm sure a lot of my colleagues will always tell you it's very, very rare that I'm quiet and speechless. And but walking on the BGX 70 for the first time and looking at what you have done in terms of almost flipping the design of how a boat of that should be completely upside down, but actually what you've changed there is you've taken all the things where we might have said before, you know, the things you kind of put up with and deal with, but you aren't quite perfect, and you've kind of taken those and flipped them upside down and made the boat really usable for someone. I mean, every time we take a client on board, they just sit there and go, wow, what, you know, why don't, you know, this is fantastic in terms of the way the layout works and the functionality of the boat.
You know that when I work on comparisons between BGX and competitors, it's even difficult to compare both. You know, when you compare the Salon with Galley, and the typical flybridge boat is a different boat. There is not very much in common. I think we mixed super well like an open boat to a flybridge boat. And the opening of the Salon on the beach is something unique that puts everything together and gives the boat something so special. And but it's fun, you know. Also, I remember when I was showing the boat through the drawings before we presented it. And you can see people when they follow you, but they don't really understand, you know, you. And that's what happened most of the times. But it's part of the game, you know, because you are on paper and the project is quite complex. But the same happened when we were showing the boat the first time. People was having the first tour and then asked, please, can we redo it? Because they were not, you know, really in the boat. They needed to have another tour. And that's a great point, because it means that there is something which is going in a different way, which is not necessarily better, but I think for us it's something new, and people love it to have a different approach, a different way to live the interior of the boat.
Certainly. And so, looking ahead into the future, you know, what does the future hold for Bluegame?
I think the future looks bright, very bright. I can say, I'm proud to say, and I want to be honest, looking at the plans we have, being together with San Lorenzo, give us the possibility to plan in advance investments, and so to have a vision of the big picture, which helps a lot. So this is very important. On more in detail, the plan, you know, have a nice review of new models coming out, which will start with the BG72 this summer. We will see it in Cannes, and that boat is. Can I show it on the video if you want?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And can you see it?
Yeah.
And this boat really is unique for me because combines the features of a super open boat, because you can enjoy, you can see it, how open is on the main deck, in the bow, in the beach area, but inside is more comfortable than a typical flybridge. So it's a unique combination that will make this boat, I'm sure, will give this boat a fantastic future, fantastic result with our clients.
And once again, it has the distinctive, what I call Bluegame windscreen. Is that a feature that will continue forever through the range, the sort of reverse windscreen?
Well, the reverse windscreen was not an aesthetic trick that I did in the past. It was due to functional reason, and we keep it because it's smart, because it gives you more space, because it gives you a lot of visibility, because you don't get, especially here in the Mediterranean, the heat coming from a standard aerodynamic shaped screen. You don't get that heat, and that's something unbelievable, because if you see in a marina or at anchor, the normal, typical motor yacht, all of them have got shade on the windshield, so they don't see outside. They need to cover it, and so I think we will continue on this kind of strong sign. And I can tell you, sometimes it's tough. It's not so easy to design around, many situations. But so far, I think we succeeded, and I really underline every time that is more a functional choice than aesthetic choice.
Right. And I'm not sure whether you can or can't, but you've just talked about the BG72, which we'll see at Cannes Boat Show this year. Any other sneak previews that you can give us on models that we'll see in the not too distant future?
Yes, for sure. Maybe we can go in detail more, in the next month. But I can tell you, as I was telling you, we will have the 72 in Cannes. We will have the 54 in Düsseldorf.
Wow.
Hopefully we have Düsseldorf in 2002. And the same year we will have the multi-hull So we will present the first Bluegame multi-hull, the power multi-hull, which will be then developed in 3 models. The first one is going to be a 70, and then there will be a smaller one and a bigger one.
Exciting! Wow. So, as you say, the future is very bright for Bluegame. We'll see the BG72 at Cannes this year, and then I'm excited to learn more about the 54 and then the multi-hull. So yeah, as you say, maybe we could have a follow-up in a month or 2 on this, and you could maybe give us a bit of a sneak preview on those boats. But thank you, Luca, for your time this morning and for sharing a bit more with us on Bluegame. We're extremely proud to be representing you here in the UK, and you know, we're looking forward to a very successful future with you guys. And lastly, all I can say is I wish you all the luck to your America's Cup team in the coming few weeks and months.
Thank you.
Take care, Luca.
It will be in England, the Italian final, so we will see. We will have fun.
Maybe we put a wager on it.
Good.
Thanks, Luca. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Ciao, Nick. Have a nice day.
And you. Bye-bye.